He stood in the hall, watching another man place his arm near his wife's shoulder. Everyone laughed, except him. But silence doesn't always mean weakness. Sometimes it's the warning before the storm. And that night, he decided to show where arrogance ends and respect begins. The company gala had always been just another work obligation for me. Stand in the background, smile, shake a few hands, and watch Sarah, my wife, shine. She looked stunning that night in her navy blue dress, her hair curled to perfection, her confidence filling the room like light spilling through stained glass. I felt proud, as I always did, to have her by my side. But then it happened, the moment that shifted everything. Her boss, Daniel, tall, broad-shouldered, the type of man who thrived on being noticed, strode up to us with that practiced smirk plastered on his face. He barely looked at me before focusing entirely on Sarah. "You look incredible tonight," he said smoothly, offering his arm as though it were the most natural thing in the world. "I'll claim you as my date for the evening." The words struck me like ice water. Sarah let out a nervous laugh, clearly caught off guard. "Oh, Daniel," she said, brushing it off as though it were harmless. But I could see the flicker in her eyes, the discomfort she tried to hide, the awkward smile she forced onto her lips. I stood there, my jaw tightening, every instinct screaming at me. I wanted to lash out, to shove him back, to remind everyone in the room that Sarah was my wife, not some accessory for her arrogant boss to parade around. But instead, I stayed silent, watching, calculating. Daniel draped his arm loosely near her shoulder, not quite touching, but close enough to make the message clear to everyone watching. People laughed nervously, glasses clanked, the music swelled, and in the middle of it all, I felt invisible, erased. That's when clarity hit me. I couldn't stand by anymore pretending this was fine. He thought he had won with one bold move, but he had underestimated me, the quiet man in the room who was about to remind him exactly where the line was drawn. As the evening went on, Daniel circled Sarah like a hawk. Every time she tried to step away, he pulled her back into conversation. "Tell me more about your latest project," he'd say, leaning in too close, his tone dripping with possessive charm. Sarah laughed politely, her eyes darting toward me as though pleading for a lifeline. I gave her a steady look, a silent promise that she wasn't alone. When the dinner announcements began, Daniel struck again. He took Sarah's chair, pulling it out for her like he was the gentleman she needed, ignoring me entirely. "After all," he said loudly, raising his glass, "tonight's about celebrating our best people. And Sarah," he paused dramatically, "isn't just the star of the team, she's the star of the night." The room erupted in claps and whistles. Sarah flushed, uncomfortable, but forced to smile. I clenched my jaw, feeling the weight of every eye turning to her and away from me. That's when I knew. Enough was enough. I rose slowly, not with rage, but with the kind of calm that unsettles everyone who witnesses it. "Daniel," I said, my voice steady, cutting through the noise, "you've made a mistake." The laughter around us dulled, glasses lowered, heads turned. He tilted his head, smirking, as though this was just another sparring match he'd already won. "Oh, and what mistake is that?" I locked eyes with him. The mistake of assuming my wife needs another man to claim her. She doesn't. She already has one, and he's standing right here. The silence that followed was deafening. Daniel let out a short laugh, the kind men use when they feel their power slipping. "Strong words," he said, swirling his glass. "But words don't win battles, do they?" I leaned slightly forward. "You're right. Words don't win battles. Character does. Loyalty does. And that's something you've never understood." Sarah's hand found mine under the table, trembling but firm. That one small gesture was worth more than any applause. It was her silent way of saying she'd been waiting for me to stand, not with fists, but with resolve. The room froze. Daniel's smirk faltered. His confidence cracked. He glanced at Sarah, then back at me, realizing his charm had failed. "This ends tonight," I continued. "You will respect my wife, not because you're forced to, but because she's earned it." Sarah rose beside me. "Daniel, I'm grateful for my job, but don't confuse my dedication with availability. I'm married. I chose him, and no amount of power you hold in the office changes that." The finality in her tone left no room for argument. The audience that once cheered his toasts now murmured in quiet approval. Daniel raised his glass one last time. "To boundaries," he muttered. Nobody laughed. We walked out, hand in hand. Outside, the night air was cool, grounding. She looked up at me. "Thank you," she whispered. I squeezed her hand. "You don't have to thank me. You just had to know I'll always make my move when it matters most." The next morning, the office buzzed with whispers. Word travels fast in corporate halls, faster than truth. Some said Daniel was furious. Others said he respected me for standing up. It didn't matter. What mattered was the look in Sarah's eyes when she walked through those glass doors, not afraid, not ashamed, but free. That night had changed something between us. We didn't talk much about it, but the silence was different now. Not heavy, not distant. It was peace. Mutual understanding. Weeks later, Daniel requested a transfer. Officially, it was for a new project. Unofficially, everyone knew why. And as Sarah got promoted to lead the very department he'd once ruled, I watched her smile. Not the polite one for the crowd, but the real one, the one she used to wear when it was just us. One evening, over dinner, she reached across the table. "You know," she said softly, "for a long time, I thought strength meant staying quiet. But that night, you taught me it can mean standing beside the right person instead." I smiled. "And you taught me that sometimes protecting someone isn't about fighting, it's about reminding them they were never alone." We didn't need applause or validation. The world had already seen enough noise. But as she leaned her head on my shoulder, I realized respect isn't claimed in public. It's earned every day in silence, loyalty, and love.